Landmines and jellyfish, welcome back to Knives, I guess. And if I see a clown robbing a bank and he says the words, "and no funny business," he's getting stabbed. Alright? No. But we're going to do an open tag, and we're going to call it Sentimental Saturday. And just show some stuff that you're sentimental about. And you guys that have been around for a minute know, like my uncle who passed away in '07, incredibly prematurely. You know, that was a guy I wanted to grow up to be. And I managed to score a box of knives that belonged to him before he passed away. So we're going to take a look at those guys. And we're going to kick this off with possibly my favorite one. It's definitely the one that had my attention when I first got this stuff. And it's a Gil Hibben. And you're looking at a Gil Hibben Pro folder. And this thing, centrifugal opens. And I guarantee you that he loosened the action up to make this happen. This is also the first thing I had that could centrifugal open. And it's a very easy one. Now, this thing reeks of cheap, stainless Taiwan, UC 945. However, that was the coolest thing in the collection when I first opened the box of stuff up. And, you know, this thing stays in the sheath and it stays in the drawer with the 45 that I got from him the last time I saw him alive. Some of my other really nice stuff that I don't want to, you know, carry and beat up. Like, it stays up there in the drawer of honors. And I'm so attached to that thing. I never carry it now. I used to carry it when I wore a belt all the time. And that was kind of when I never really needed a knife for anything, so it was just for show. And, you know, it is what it is. This is a Browning fixed blade that belonged to him. And it just says Browning, Japan. So at some point I need to do a little research into this and figure out exactly what I got in my hands. And maybe at least see kind of what the value would be in really good shape. There's some gunk on it that should clean off, and it'd be a pretty nice blade. You know, I don't know that much about it. You know, I'm not a fixed blade guy right now because the environment I'm in, a fixed blade just doesn't justify it. Seems like this one got put to some work. The edge is pretty dull, but that's also from back in the day where knives came factory dull. So we got that guy right there. Let's see. We've got a few boot knives from his time in the armed forces in Germany. Baron, Solingen, Germany. And this is a little boot knife. You know, I like the design, I like the idea, but I don't really have a reason to carry a boot knife right now. But we also have a boot knife, Baron, Solingen, Germany, and I like it, but I don't have a reason to carry a boot knife right now. And then we got a smaller version that's nearly identical, but this, I can't really read this. I cannot read this. Like, I need to magnify this like crazy to get it to get a read on it. Maybe you guys can see that better than I can, but yeah. Tell me what it is in the comments, or I'll find out what it is when I review the video. Next up, little bitty tiny traditional. And I've looked at this a few times. I'm like, maybe this thing has got some value to it, but I don't think so. And again, it's too small for me to read. Like, my vision's doing some weird stuff to me lately, but maybe you can read that. And so you got that, and you got, oh man, the pull on that's real strong. That guy right there. And of course, it's got some corrosion and nastiness on it from where it sat for a long time. I'm sure he didn't take the best care of it in the world. It's been carried, it's been put to work a little bit, but it's still a neat little trinket. And I don't know if one of y'all knows what the crown is on here. Like, I don't know a lot about most of these things at all. Next up, I know you guys have seen this one for one of the traditional open tags. And of course, this is a traditional slip joint that's cold steel pocket sword sized. And I like having it in the collection. Again, I don't carry it. I'm not a traditional knife guy. But there we are. There's the other blade, and it's just as long. Might be a little bit longer, actually. But, you know, we got this guy right here. And I'd love to know the branding on all these and be able to provide more information, but you guys know as much as I do going into this for most of them. This guy right here, like, he loved buying some cheap knives, and he had some brands that he was really attached to for I'm not sure exactly what reason. But like Sheffield, I think this one came with a multi-tool that I have somewhere. And he seemed to like these guys. I think they were just one of the cheap brands that he could beat on and not care about. I mean, it's nice enough overall, and if it had a tip-up pocket clip, I'd definitely carry it at least a little bit in the rotation and maybe get it sharper than factory dull. It feels like there's still a burr on the edge. So I think he just pulled the multi-tool out and then didn't really carry this thing because it is way too nice to be one of his knives. Not going to lie. Up next, we got this Magnum 440 steel. I don't know the model name. I don't know nothing about it. I do know I need to fix the pocket clip at some point, just because. But, I mean, it's a decent enough liner lock. You know, this is definitely 440 stainless. And I'm not sure exactly when it was made. Like I said, you guys know as much as I do. Next up, of course, we got the Gerber Easy Out that showed up a while back. This is actually one of the nicer things in here. Now, these, again, I don't know the value or provenance of, but they may be worth a lot more than I think, kind of like some of the knives that I pulled out of this box. But this thing, it would definitely be, sorry, this would definitely be a solid work knife. And the serrations, now, I'm not a big fan of serrations because the kind of work I'm doing with these knives, serrations actually make things harder than they help. But, you know, if I was in the environment I was in when I was doing greenskeeping, serrations are kind of necessary for the kind of work you got to do, especially cutting rope. Good God, trying to cut that rope with a plain edge, oh, it sucked so bad. Actually, the nylon rope we used, it was like the really cheap stuff that we used to string between the posts to keep people from driving their carts onto the fairways and stuff. And the little credit card knife that you fold out that you can stick in your wallet, that cut that rope better by a long shot than that Schrade with all the chameleon paint on it and stuff like that that I've showed off a couple of times now. Mind-blowing. And of course we got this electrician's knife, and maybe I can get one of these blades out. Yeah, Cutmaster electrician's knife. I showed this off earlier too, and of course it's got this. The other blade I just cannot get out. I haven't cleaned this thing or worked on it enough to really get this out with a thumbnail. No, it's still jammed in there. I'm not gonna flip my nail backwards trying to pull that. But it's a neat little piece. At some point, I'll probably break down and actually clean this thing out and get it working smoothly again. Not right now, though. I got too much going on and no energy left after work. Next up, we got this Gerber right here. And I wish I had the model number on it or anything outside of Taiwan and the Gerber logo. I'd like to find a new pocket clip for this just to have it complete. If one of you guys knows what this thing is, let me know in the comments so I can look one up. I can't imagine they're terribly expensive. It's just, I have no identification on it, and trying to look up something as generic as Gerber folding knife, it would take about a week of scrolling constantly to find one of these. So, yeah, it is what it is. It lives in the box. And of course, we got the Guardian Mark II. And I've showed this off before too, and it's a nice early 80s dagger. And this thing does hold some value. They're fairly expensive looking at them online. And this thing I keep in nice shape. It was staying up in the drawer right there until I brought it down into a video, and I haven't brought it back up yet. But I love this thing. This and the Gilhibben, these were the first things that really grabbed me by the short and curlies whenever I started going through the box of stuff. What do we have left? So this right here, I'm not sure who makes it. Let's see if we can get some Schrade USA 1250T. So it's a Schrade, and it's a liner lock, which these are also some of the first liner locks I ever had. And this is really stiff, so I don't trust it entirely. So I'm closing it two-handed. But this was something that was gifted to him from his workplace, Greenfield Industries. And that's where he worked as a machinist, making stuff, like they made stuff like drill bits and all kinds of random stuff. And he had like a full setup in his yard and one of the shops and the guest bedroom in his house, where he was making new parts for obsolete machines that had no support left on them. And apparently he was making a nice chunk of change off of doing that for Greenfield. And I kid you not, the kind of guy he was, out in the small cinder block workshop, there was a metal lathe and a whole bunch of tooling. Out in the yard, there was a casting station, like aluminum casting, stuff like that. You know, he had the anvil that's in my garage now, and his own blacksmithing setup. The guest bedroom in his house had yet another metal lathe in it. And when he passed away, I had to help get the guns out of his house. And so I walk in there and I pull the sheetrock off to the side in that room. And there's just a row of ARs and M16s lined up inside the wall. Love that guy, man. I miss him so much. Let's see, I think. Yeah, we got the Puma prints, which I've shown that off earlier. This thing does command some value. This should be an older one, and I don't remember exactly what I looked up on the specs online before I did the Way Back Wednesday video a long time ago. But this is definitely one that he sharpened, carried, used. It's a nice piece. Like, this is a really nice lockback. And, you know, back in the day before I started carrying tip-up with a pocket clip everywhere and I had extra pocket space, I would have definitely rocked this. But it just kind of sat off to the side, and I never really got around to carrying it and using it for anything. And, of course, now it's in the box. It's not for use. It's there for me to feel a little bit better about having something that belonged to him. And he made a couple of miniature swords that I'm not seeing right this second, so I'm not going to... Oh, yeah. Yeah. So these were a couple of miniature swords that he made. And these were kind of the rougher ones of what he did. There's a picture. There's a picture out there somewhere on the planet where there's a ring of miniature Damascus axes, stuff like that. Absolutely gorgeous, pretty much flawless pieces in a circle around a dime. And I think I saw one of those things and I held it in my hand, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I don't know where they are. I don't know where that picture is. I wish I had either one of them, but I do have these guys, which I think were just him kind of tooling around and practicing with his stuff. And, you know, I've kind of gone down that road and tried to make some miniatures myself, and I may try again at some point. But buckle your underwear. You're about to see something with a quite hideous countenance. It's uglier than a $2 hooker, but I tried to make a miniature sword. And this would have been like a messer, something like that, Kriegsmesser. However, we got some snake wood right here, deer antler for the crossguard, and then this was hammered out of a galvanized nail. And I tried to harden it, and I had no clue what I was doing, and I was on like a wood shop belt sander trying to make this thing. So, I mean, I made it, and I was screwing around kind of learning stuff, so I'm cool with that. And it does have some functionality, especially with a crossguard here. You could use this for stuff. But my God, it is absolutely horrifying. Like, it would probably get rejected from a flea market table. Probably. I'll be generous to say probably. But, you know, this is just a whole bunch of stuff that I'm really sentimental about. And for obvious reasons. It belonged to my uncle before he passed away, so I'm always going to be really, really attached to it. And, like, it's not even stuff that I carry and use. And also, Cold Steel Twistmaster. I've shown this off a couple times now, but if you haven't seen it, this is kind of what an Opinel wants to grow up to be. You've got the ring right here. You twist it to lock the knife, and then you twist it back to unlock the knife. And this is from the mid-90s, and it's a little bit of a rarity. I'm not sure how expensive they gotten now, but you basically got an Opinel that is a pocket sword. You know, I love how funky this thing is. So this is stuff that I'm real sentimental about. If you guys have some stuff that you're real sentimental about, go ahead, do a video, tag me in it so I can see what you got. But all that being said, thanks for looking at my crap. Subscribers, thank you so much. More guys are coming in, and I'm so grateful. The comments, thank you for the feedback. I love it. And all that being said, y'all have a nice day.